Hey everybody, I am live and I'm just about to connect with my friend Angi Fletcher. And let me see. Yes, I am live. I have a couple of people online, which is great. It is middle of the day here in Miami. And Angi should be coming on soon. There she is. There we go. And she should be coming on right now. Yay! Hey! Oh my God. This is the first time I've done the sort of like host thing. So I was like having a panic attack. Okay, now the comments, I'm going to turn off the comments.
Okay, so you go down in those little dots on the bottom.
Yeah.
Press those little dots and then it should come up.
Yeah, great.
There.
So perfect. Guys, I'm so sorry to turn off the comments. It's just because they roll over Angi's face. And she's so gorgeous. I didn't want to have comments all over her face. So it's not that we don't care about what you have to say. I also find it really distracting because I want to chat with you and I'm trying to read what people want to know.
Yeah, exactly.
I hope that you guys will talk to us on our feeds. I'm going to upload this onto my IG, onto my Reels, and also Angi has her handle, which is Angi Green, right? Even though she's
it's Angi Green. It's so confusing, but that's the first name that I had because I've been on IG for almost 10 years.
Right.
And now I can't switch the name to my married name without it being like Angi Green and Fletcher _ 5,000 million whatevers. So I kept it.
And I love that you're doing more work with Arlen, your husband, who is what a hunk is he? I mean,
I'm so lucky. It's crazy. I know. And now he's done his whole like Viking vibe that I'm totally into. So
and he's such a, he's his own man and he's extremely knowledgeable in the area of health and wellness, biohacking, and physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual well-being. You're so well teamed together, and there's nobody else on Instagram that is sharing a husband and wife team like that. So it's so good to see you guys sort of, working together.
Love it. I'm so happy to have him on my channel. Like he has his own, I think he has 6,000 followers or something on his own, no posts, nothing. He's honestly, I mean, you know him well. He's so private. And so like the Instagram, the social media channel is not his vibe at all. He's very, very one-on-one. All of his clients are one-on-one. And he's so private and so intimate that having this space, which we're all navigating, and it's like this space it's intimidating beyond because we're all learning and we're all growing and we're all doing our stuff. But now in a public eye, I mean, you've been in the public eye for decades, but for all of us to be in the public eye and to have your opinions and to share your stuff, but then to learn and grow and evolve and then make mistakes, like it's all in front of people.
Well, we're kind of doing it together though. I mean, what I like with Arlen is that he doesn't he's not a small talk man. He wants to have, he talks philosophy and concepts and heart, and so it could appear that social media could be quite two-dimensional or frivolous, but what I'm personally loving is that it really is an opportunity, if you're courageous, to step out of your comfort zone and talk about what's important to you and share your experience with other people, because especially the last year we've been so isolated just through the protocols that have been put in place. Wise, run wise, you can make your own opinion on that. But we have been isolated and fragmented. And so having a space where we can talk about the things that really resonate with us, or at least what is allowed to, what we're allowed to discuss, has been really important. And, especially I think as far as health and wellness is concerned, there hasn't been a lot of conversation about how to look after your body, how to look after your immune system. And you and Arlen have done an amazing job in educating people with tools that you have, you've perfected through experience. They're not just like stuff you pick up and go, oh, I'm going to share about that. I mean, it's things that you've been practicing and that have results for you. And you share about it in an educational way, in an authentic way. And I think it's much needed on social media. So congratulations to you guys. I know it's awkward at times because you do get that feedback that people don't understand, but it's so valuable. So thank you.
Oh, vice versa. I feel the same way about you. It's something that's so real and authentic, because you can see, you know, for the first time with social media with you, we can see the behind the scenes and we can see the real you, and not just the glamour and the glitz and everything that we know it's fun and exciting, but there's also days where, and seasons where it's not that exciting, and it's just real and it's raw and it's human. And I think that's
been a big change in just in fashion in itself. I mean, there was a time where being put on a pedestal, the more successful you were. Personally, I'm loving navigating this new phase. It's been really, it's demanded of me to ground my values, my purpose and vision, not only for Wellco, but for myself, so that I can communicate with people really from a heart space and not just from a two-dimensional, you know, kind of iconic space. And I think people want that kind of communication today.
I agree. It forces you to be authentic, you know, it really, and what I think what's happened, especially now more than ever, with the divisiveness that we're dealing with, is, you know, true colors are being shown on all sides with everyone. And I think the more grounded and authentic you can stay, and the more grounded and authentic you can share, the more connection that there is.
And the more you help other people, you encourage them to be that unique self. And it's about listening to that inner sense. That inner voice, because a lot of people say to me, I don't know who I am. And I think that was one of the things that was so difficult for me as I matured, you know, finding out who I actually was, and not all the different people I could be in order to make a living, but who am I? It sounds so kind of corny, but, or who do I want to be in my life, really, more than anything. It's taken time, and the way I've done it is slowing down, you know, really slowing down. And I think COVID has helped us during that period to slow down and figure out what is truly important to us, and you know, how we want to live our life, and you know, what works, and more importantly, what isn't working, and really focus on expanding our, you know, creation stream into what we want in our life, not what we don't want. So focusing our energy on that. And I know, look, you do it consciously and subconsciously. You share with us your journey as a woman, as a mother, and as a wellness warrior. It's a bit weird. Well, how do you feel about wellness warrior as a title? Is that a strange
I like it
thing?
a lot more than influencer. That's for sure.
Well, yes. Well, you do influence a lot, but it's.
Yeah, I like the term warrior, because I feel like I am a warrior. I feel like all of us are warriors. I feel like as a mother, you're a warrior. Like consciously, like you said, consciously and subconsciously, whatever you do, subconscious becomes conscious and vice versa. So the habits that you create become your lifestyle. And no matter what, you have a warrior spirit and this mama bear spirit that I didn't even know that I had before. I didn't know that I was a fighter before I went through hard things. And being a mom is hard. It's the hardest thing that I've ever dealt with.
And yet you do it so effortlessly. It was so sweet seeing Alakai last night, and he says, daddy doctor, mama doctor, because of his toe, right? And you guys have been working on that he lost his nail. And, you know, as far as parenting is concerned, being that resource of healing for your children is wonderful to watch. I wish that I had been that involved in and that conscious when I was raising my children. when they were your kids' age. But Mother's Day is coming up.
Yeah, we do what we can with what we have, right? I'm parenting very different now, 16 years later, than when I parented Oliver. Completely different choices. And it's hard not to feel guilty about that, but I also know my mother mothered me the way that she knew how, and her parents, parented her the way that they knew how. We all do what we can, and hopefully the hope is to learn and grow and evolve, and share and teach. And that's
Mother's Day is coming up, and I was asking myself before I went to bed last night, what, I'm not a big one for Hallmark, occasions, but Mother's Day for me is one that I tend to honor, and I'm just wondering what it means to you.
It means so much, and that has evolved as well. That has changed from when I was growing up to then becoming a mother and then losing my mother. It's constantly changed. What it means now, I'm not a Hallmark. I used to be a strict Hallmark celebrator, like a very, very strict. The lead up would be everything, and then the drama and the expectation and the letdown, and I was there for it all. Now I'm more like, take it easy. It's okay. And I think that's come with the loss in my life and the different experiences that I've gone through. But Mother's Day, just like every other Hallmark, should be every day. What's special about it is it's not every day. And I do like creating traditions. I do like creating celebrations, because it would be like Christmas every day. It doesn't make it special. So Mother's Day, it is a beautiful day to honor our mothers, to honor Mother Earth, to honor ourselves, to honor women who long to be mothers, women who have lost children. Like, just, I know it's Mother's Day and not Women's Day, but for mothers, especially for me, what it just means is just honoring myself. Not having expectations for other people to honor me. I used to have that expectation on my husband. And it was a huge letdown always, because he could never do anything right. And my previous husband. And I feel bad about that, because now I really honor myself. And on Mother's Day especially, I take the time to relax, to slow down, to honor my mom, even though she's gone, but to honor her and to thank her and be grateful for what she's taught me. And to feel that loss, and to feel that sense of longing and missing, but then also allow that to impact me, and know that I really only have a short time on this earth, and I want to take everything that I can, and teach my children and to be with my children. But not putting that on anyone else, and just really celebrating myself and celebrating other mothers as well.
I think it's also about nurturing, and that's why it's not really about women per se. I think it's about nurturing in general, although nurturing is a feminine quality. I know many men that are wonderful nurturers, and this is about reminding ourselves to nurture ourselves, to nurture our children, to nurture the planet, to nurture love. And that is, it's a good reminder that is extremely important. We are finding that we are having to kind of unify within ourselves our masculine qualities, which are the, get things done, analytical, perform, organize. When we combine that with the slowing down, listening, nurturing qualities, we start to become more unified as humans. Our lives become more fulfilling. We find more balance in our lives, and that's what I'm looking for, is finding that sweet balanced place, because when I'm balanced, I can achieve so much more, and I'm achieving it from a space that it's sort of like you get an acceleration because you are still, in a way. So I don't know. It's hard to be balanced when you're stressful, when you're stressed. How do you find balance when you're stressed? And how do you kind of maintain balance so that you can be really present for your kids?
It's funny because it's what we talked about this morning too, right? I was I was in the sauna.
Are you gonna tell everybody?
I'm gonna tell everybody. I was in the sauna at 6 o'clock in the morning. I didn't have a hair tie because we live in a one-room space. So we have an upstairs and a downstairs. The downstairs is just a converted garage, right. Which is where I'm in right now. So upstairs, we all sleep in one room. I had forgotten to take a hair tie downstairs. So I was outside in my sauna and I had put my hair up in my underwear, clean underwear, mind you. And I was talking to you and you were like, oh, well, I didn't do the sauna this morning. I did coffee instead. And I was like, well, but that's what it's what it's all about. It's about, it's for me, it's not about finding balance because I don't know, there isn't balance all the time. There's chaos.
It's true.
And for me, it's about prioritizing even within the chaos, you know.
Yes.
A lot of people ask me what I'm doing for workouts now because I started my IG kind of more around workouts. I was a triathlete professionally and like that's what I was doing, working after modeling. And I had all the time in the world, you know, to work out, to train, to do all these things. And then I had kids and now I don't have all that. I have the same amount of time, but it's not about balancing for me. It's about prioritizing. Yeah. And there's seasons in prioritizing. So some mornings I can wake up and do my sauna and my workout and my cold plunge and, you know, and do all the things before the kids wake up. And some mornings that all goes to crap because
it's true.
They didn't sleep,
and I think you're
or
right
whatever.
About that concept of balance, because it is like balance is sort of like you're teetering on something anyway. Like, what does that mean? It's like I've got all these I'm juggling all this stuff, and I'm managing to do it. It's, you know,
I'm not managing to do it. I don't manage to do it well when I'm balancing everything. And nowadays, especially as mothers, and especially through 2020, when now it's like the homeschooling, the caring, the nurturing, the husband lost the job, so now we're picking up the work. Like so much has been put on us as human beings that balance, it's like balance is complete chaos because you're trying to balance all of these things and you're not doing anything well. Where if you can like I've thrown out the concept of balance, and I hate to
grounded.
say that because now
it's
like
about being grounded. So what do you do that keeps you grounded? I have my practices that I do that really keep me grounded. And frankly, I don't do it every day, but if I don't do it every 3 days, I can find myself spiraling really in an uncomfortable place towards the end of the week. So what do you do to stay grounded? Like, what are your things that help you feel connected to your heart, connected to your children, connected to your higher self, connected to your, you know, vision, purpose, and values, like connected to your day? Like, what do you do?
I find little moments, and I think the overarching thing is gratefulness and grace.
Yeah.
And if I have that throughout the day, that keeps me grounded. Seeing a bigger picture, not hyper focusing on things, like not getting upset because I didn't get my workout in, you know, not focusing on little things like that, but having a bigger picture of grace, gratefulness, breath work. Breath work has been everything for me. Because what that has taught me is to be in the moment, even when it's chaotic, even when it hurts, even when it's painful, but to stay in that moment and to know that moment is gonna go and something else is gonna come in.
Absolutely.
Because I don't have a routine. I have a routine just like you, where we know what works. We know what has worked in the past. We know the tools. We have all the tools. We know what works, but you can't implement that every single day.
True.
So I know my season. I know my cycle. That's very important to me right now with the age that I'm at. I know my cycle, and I know kind of what works. And I try and implement what I can, and like controlling what I can, and then letting go of what I can't control.
Rest. Yeah.
Because it's like you're trying to do all these things and you can't do them all. So I have my things. I know what works. I know that if I'm in a funk, I know a cold shower will get me out of that funk, or a cold plunge, or something that's just like boom, get yourself out of this, like reframe.
Right.
The biggest things I go to are nutrition.
I think that's like, number one thing for me too.
Yep. Hydration and nutrition. I know that if I'm kind of getting into this slump, I have to like reassess and go, wait, did I not have breakfast? Or do I not have fuel? So all of a sudden I'm like running low, and I forgot, or I was doing other things and was taking care of the kids and not taking my greens or not taking my supplements. So supplementation is huge. Nourishment is huge. Breath work, movement is huge for me. If I'm like stuck or stagnant or having these feelings, being able to move, go for a walk, literally do jumping jacks in my living room, like just something where I have movement, where I can let that energy out and then have new energy come in, like just a constant flow. And it's nothing that's like, you know, perfectly
it's
routine.
It's simple and not complicated. And I'm the same. I mean, sunshine, movement, nutrition, and within nutrition, I have a little bit of a routine. My sauna is important to me, prayer and meditation. And I, you know, that's sort of like I get, and hydration, of course. I'm like constantly with my workout. We've got new flavors at the moment. I have to send you.
Yes,
here,
please.
We've got orange, and this is really great. This has got no, it's got a kind of like a greens flavor, so you can stick it with your protein or whatever like that. But
amazing.
I fill this up like 3 or 4 times a day, and then sometimes it's got just lemon in it, sometimes it's just water, sometimes it's the orange super elixir, which I'm loving at the moment, which gives me all my vitamins and minerals. But if I don't have a foundation, a nutritional foundation, so, you know, I get up in the morning, I have a wheatgrass shot, I do a juice, then I have my greens, I'll have a sprout salad, I'll have a protein shake maybe in the afternoon, I'll have another, you know, I'm raw vegan, plant-based, so I have all plant-based products. And then in the evening I have a sleep tea. I've got this one that's just brilliant for stress at the moment.
Yeah, I love your tea. Just the smell of it, just opening the canister already puts me in like a calming mode. I love that tea.
I think for mothers it's really important to find, you know, because I think children, it's almost like osmosis. When we're stressed, they feel it, and 100%. Then they become more ratty, and then you'll become more stressed because you're trying to cope with them being ratty, and it's just compounds itself. So if we can keep our adrenaline low and our cortisol levels very low through exercise, through breath work, through detox, and it doesn't have to be complicated, but I feel like we do need, I choose to commit to these practices because my life is simply better, you know, and I feel better, I look better. I can see a huge difference in my skin and in my body when I'm not practicing, and I'm a better parent. And even though my boys are 18 and 23 now, they require more patience than they did when they were little.
It's a different type of patience. It's an emotional
type of patience.
It's an emotional patience. But yeah, it's still very, very, you're a parent until you die. Like you're absolutely.
How wonderful. What a gift.
Yeah.
And for the people that are watching this that aren't parents, you're parents to yourself. You know, it's learning how to parent yourself, how to be that wise mentor, that wise guide to yourself, to your inner being, I don't like that concept of your inner child. It's all too kind of very, very hokey for me. But I mean, the concept of being able to truly parent and nurture yourself. And for me, you know, parenting is about being a mentor. And I'm just wondering, so what are some of the things that you hope to pass on to your kids, both in your health and wellness practices, and I'll share with you some of mine, and just in your kind of maybe spiritual or emotional practices? How, you know, if your kids were older, what would you like them to look back and say, this is what my mom taught me?
Well, it's really cute because it's not even things that I'm doing consciously. 2 examples of this. The other day, I was having a fit. My inner child was having a fit. Something happened, and I was really, really frustrated. And I try not to fake that around my kids. You know, I'm very open and real. And And if I'm having a bad moment, then they know it, you know,
Yeah.
and it was really sweet because I was crying on the couch. I just like gave up for the moment and I just sat down and I just cried on the couch. And Alakai came up to me and he put his hand on my knee and he said, Mama, just take a deep breath. Take a deep breath. And I was like, oh, it honestly, it shocked me because you just, when you do these practices, it just becomes your lifestyle. And it's not a chore or it's not like a checklist, but I tell them to take a deep breath when they're crying, and I allow them to cry and I allow them to feel their emotions, because children are so wonderfully able to access their emotions.
Yeah.
There's just nothing stopping them. But then knowing like that the breath is something that you can control. And so having passed that on, for me, I was like, oh, amazing.
It's so affirming when you see things like that. I mean, I had something like that the other day. Well, two things with my boys. And Flynn came over. He's 23. He's out. He has his own life. He's, you know, he's been living away from home since he went to college. And even before, when he was living with me, he really wasn't living with me because he was on the road as much as he possibly could. In fact, that child was born. He never slept with me once in his 23 years. He was one of those babies that went like, okay, I've got my own life. I mean, he's super independent. He walked in the house, came over for breakfast. He walked in, he went straight over to my Wellco station and made himself, he said, oh, great, you've got the new flavor. I've been wanting to try it. Made himself the orange, and then stuck in an immune boost in it and shook it up and drank it. And I was like, here's a child that never ate a green vegetable in his life, that has been put ketchup on everything that he eats, is totally against sort of mom's health and wellness lifestyle.
Of course,
and,
of course.
You know, there he is walking in and looking after himself, absolutely naturally without me saying anything. And I just sort of thought to myself, I'm really pleased that, and I think you said to me, you know, it's like, you said it's my lifestyle, you know, you live that lifestyle, but it's not really lifestyle, it's who you are. And the kids see that it works and they adopt it for themselves. And my 18-year-old the other day had kind of cold. He's been out a lot and he's been partying and doing these things end of year. He's gotten into college and now he's decided he's got senioritis, and so he's out every night. And he was really phlegmy, and I said to him, do you want a yogurt? And he just looked at me like, are you crazy? I've got phlegm in my throat. And I thought, you know, it's those simple things that you know, okay, he's going off to college. He's at least going to know what to eat. And understand his body. You know, there are certain foods that will make inflammation, and inflammation creates mucus, and mucus creates illness and, you know, bacteria. And so you don't have to step them through it, but they do get how to look after their bodies. If you
they're watching, they're constantly watching. And I think that's the biggest thing for my mom. You know, I don't want to throw her under the bus at all, but I watched her more than I listened to her, because sometimes her words fell flat, and I was watching how stressed she was constantly. And for me, it's like, I want to take care. You were talking about, you know, people who aren't mothers or fathers or parents yet. I completely agree. Parenting myself is my biggest responsibility. And I have voices in my head, not to sound crazy, but you know the difference between your brain and your mind. So we can talk to ourselves, and it wasn't until I spoke to myself, and I do daily, I have to talk to myself and say, Angie, snap out of it, or Angie, like, what are you doing here? And I'm able to parent myself, because that makes me take responsibility for my truth and responsibility for my actions. And my kids are watching that far more than anything that I say, because you can talk, but if you're angry and stressed and you're saying, you know, you need to stay calm, you need to and they're like, they feel our energy.
They do.
You know, they're so
Yeah, and it's really like listening to your heart. I think there's a big difference between your head and your heart, and your heart will never lead you astray. And we forget sometimes we sort of get stuck in our head loop, and I think teaching our kids to be in their heart is one of the best lessons that we could teach them, to listen to that in a sense, to slow down. You know, I've said to my boys 1,000 times, you cannot see your reflection in running water. You just need to take that time and check in with yourself and just say, hey, listen, really, what is it that feels right? What feels like the best choice for me? Whether it's, you know, application for a college, whether it's, do I like this girl? Whether it's, do I really want to go out with these people tonight? I mean, it's so important.
To slow down, yeah.
To slow down. And even for younger kids, you know, teaching them, like, you know, Alakai saying, just take a deep breath. I mean, that's so, what you're really teaching him is to slow down.
Yeah,
and,
exactly.
And take that time and space for himself. I mean, I think I'm just wondering how you feel about wellness being a foundation for being a loving, present mom. Do you think it really does affect the way you parent? I mean,
hugely.
Yeah.
If I'm not taking care of myself, I can't take care of anybody else.
Yeah.
You know, and I realized that from taking care of my mom and not taking care of myself, I ran out of battery. You know, I completely ran out of battery. And what I realized with my kids is when I am able to wake up in the morning, you know, there's a season when I was still breastfeeding Ocean, I didn't do that. But now they're a little bit older, 2.5 and 4, and I'm able to take that time either early in the morning or later at night. But the healthier that I feel, the stronger I feel. Yes. And the healthier I am in my body, the healthier I am in my brain. Obviously, the brain and body is connected. But if my gut and my body and my brain are all functioning optimally, then I'm just an optimal human being, and that makes me an optimal parent. So I have more patience, more grace, because I'm giving that to myself, and whatever I give to myself, I'm then able to extend outward.
Absolutely.
So
I find that
I feel, the healthier choices I can make with my words, with my actions, with everything, and that directly impacts my family.
Absolutely. And also that clarity in your brain. You talked about the gut-brain axis. It's like, if I'm looking after my digestive system because I've nourished it with the right nutrients, and I'd love to be able to say I get all the nutrients from my food. But, you know, we know that the soil has been depleted from modern farming. We know that we don't get all the vitamins and minerals we need from the bagged spinach that we think we eat, that's covered in pesticides, whether we like it or not. And thank goodness we both have that little Therasage ozone bubbler, because I think that has been so helpful for me as I eat so much raw food, to try to get some of the toxins off the food. Even if it's organic, I try to eat organic wherever I can. But if my gut-brain axis isn't working well, I am not able to make clear decisions. I can't access that part of me that is able to discern the difference between you know, A and B, and what is really right for me, or what's right for my kids, or what's right in my, you know, business. So it's like, it's hugely influential. It's not just like about making sure that I weigh a certain number on the scales and my clothes fit well and my skin and nail and hair looks beautiful, which it does, because I am looking after myself, and that's a wonderful byproduct. And great inspiration for people that only want to look beautiful. If you want to look beautiful, start on the inside, because topicals can only go so far. But if you want to feel connected to yourself, if you want to feel strong and capable, and that makes you also very charismatic. So you actually kind of have an aura of beauty around you, because you are feeling capable and connected. Then you have to nourish yourself properly with great nutrients. And you know, that's...
Well, we've all met people, you know, that you think are so beautiful and stunning, but then you get to know them, and within 5 minutes, you're like, oh, you know, it's garbage in, garbage out, that kind of whole thing. Or you see someone that maybe isn't even that attractive, or that you wouldn't have looked twice at, and you start a conversation, and all of a sudden, like within minutes, they're glowing, and you're like, oh my goodness, this is the most beautiful person, because you can tell they have that inner nourishment, that inner wellness, that inner just light that comes out. So it's not the number on a scale. You and I both know that very well, because I was at my unhealthiest and most toxic when I was at my thinnest.
And miserable.
And miserable, completely miserable. Smoking a pack of cigarettes a day, you know, doing all this just destructive stuff to my body. And my energy and my aura was super tight, because nothing could go out. There was nothing that I didn't even have the energy to give.
I think that's important, that energy to give to others, to give to yourself, and to contribute to community. I think it's extremely important today that we look, I think in everything that we try to do with Wellco, or that we do with Wellco, we consider the greater good. It's not only about, you know, how much product can we sell and how much money can we make, but, you know, sell everybody our super elixir. It's got 45 ingredients, but it's really contributing to the greater good, in the sense that if we can help people feel strong and well and confident within themselves, that they feel that they look their most beautiful, or they feel their most capable, or their most loving, be the best version of themselves, then they in turn contribute that to their family. And then their children contribute that to their children or to their friends. And so it's this sort of like giving back. It's almost like healthier individual, healthier community, healthier humanity, healthier planet. And that's what I'm interested in.
Yeah.
And it starts at home. It starts at home. I mean, it's all very well to, you know, talk about save the oceans, but I really, you know, it's how do you get up and show up for your children and for yourself and for your partner every day. And I watch you do that. I can't wait to see your kids when they're, you know, my kids' age, to see what they're doing with their life and how they've integrated the self-loving practices that I see you practice and share with them. I mean, what do they, from the things that you do, what do they love? Is it the cold plunge? What do they?
They want to get into the sauna all the time. They want to get into the cold plunge. They love the ice and the cold plunge. You know, they love like feeding me ice when I'm in there. Almost, it's so funny. It's almost taunting me. They love everything that we do, honestly, because we involve them in everything.
Yeah, I noticed them making juice the other day. That's a big thing.
We involve them in everything. Arland and I, we've lived so many lifetimes, as most of us have, that we made the decision when we got married to not to upgrade. So Arland was living in this tiny little bachelor, a studio, little guest house. It doesn't even have an address. It's a guest house. And we decided to stay here and to make it more of a priority, to be able to spend as much time as we can with our kids, and to not constantly be working to pay for our mortgage and our cars and all of our stuff. We made a conscious decision to simplify, to minimize, to maximize our outdoor experience, to maximize our time with our kids. And so they're really involved in everything that we do. Like, they work out with us. We go for walks with them. We go for hikes. We go down to the ocean with them. Now they know to stay upstairs because mommy's working downstairs, in my little garage. So they're upstairs with Arland, but they're really just involved in everything that we do. And, I have a son that's almost 18, just like yours. And I've realized with that whole season that I can't control what they do. I can't control who they become. I can only control who I am and who they see me to be. Because I also saw my mom taking too much responsibility on what her 4 children decided to do. And she took that on herself. And I don't want to do that. I want to instill, love and grace and freedom into my children. And only take responsibility for myself. I'm obviously
Yeah, I think
responsible for
it's
them,
really important in the sense that control is not love. You
yeah,
know, it's choice, freedom, choice, allowance, detachment is love. You
yeah,
know,
which is, it feels so opposite
it
even to say
does.
that, right?
It does. Fear, control, lack, and loss is like the box of the opposite of love, really, as far as I'm concerned. And so, you know, being in allowance when your children make decisions. Listen, I have a 24-year-old that's made a decision for a medical practice that I wouldn't I wouldn't recommend. And he just looked at me and said, you know, it's about freedom of choice, Mum. And I have to respect that. I do respect that.
Yeah.
Now, you know, it doesn't mean that I necessarily think that it's right for him, but he needs to make the choices that he feels resonate with him in his life. And I am not his higher power. I'm not the one that can tell him what to do. I can guide him. I can be there for him when he asks for help, but I don't offer anymore unless he asks me. And I think taking that step back. So you're at a season where it's what you can do for your children. I'm in a season where it's how can I step back? And that has been a very interesting transition for me. You know, Sai's going off to college in August. Flynn has just graduated from college. Actually, we have his graduation ceremony online tomorrow. And, you know, my boys are, they are the men that they're, you know, they're on the road to becoming the men that they're going to be in their life. And I've made my mistakes, but I've also made my learnings. And I just, you know, at this point, it's just in allowing them to live their life. But that is not easy. It's almost harder to step back.
It's been harder for me with Oliver to let go and to watch him make his mistakes.
Yeah.
You know, and
they're not mistakes if he learns from them. So make his choices, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. Making his choices, and those choices will change. You know, and it's about us staying as mothers, staying open, staying available, because it doesn't make you love your son less because he's making the choices that he's making. You know,
that's the unconditionality of parenting.
Yeah, we still love, but we redirect the responsibility. So I still love my son. I don't condone I don't approve of all of his choices, but it doesn't cause a different reflection of my love for him. It makes me love more. It makes me pray more. It makes me more accessible, but it doesn't change.
Yeah.
You know,
don't you wish you could love everybody like we love our children? I mean, that unconditional love where it doesn't matter what they do. You can not like it. You cannot agree with it, but you love them. And my aim, I remember when Flynn was born, it was like, oh my God, this is what love is. I never understood it until now. I just want to love everybody the same way. And of course I don't.
Born, that
so
oxytocin is like,
I'm so judgmental of myself and others at times, you know, and I'm working on dissolving that, but because it really is a killjoy. But learning that unconditional love and applying that in our lives is just such a wonderful gift of parenthood. And I don't know, it's such a journey. And
I think it goes back to what we're saying about nourishing yourself and taking responsibility for yourself first. Yeah. Because I feel like the more judgy I am, I quickly realize that there's something off in me.
Yes.
You know, I'm not taking care of myself.
Absolutely.
And what happens when I take care of myself, it's like I take the judgers off too. Because
true.
I know I'm human. I know that I make choices that aren't great all the time, but I also know what choices are best. And I have those in my toolbox so that I can get out of that hole and I can, you know, get back on that path. And then that allows me to have that grace for other human beings as well. Because we're all fighting different things that we don't, that famous meme right now that, you know, everyone's fighting a battle, an unseen battle that we don't know anything about. And it's very true.
Yeah.
There needs to be more grace.
More compassion.
Starting with me.
Compassion for ourselves and others. And when we connect with the love that we have for our children, I think it helps us be more compassionate in general.
Yeah.
I mean, self-love in its is a weird word. I don't know. How would you describe self-love?
Taking care of myself. And self-love is, for me, it's loving all parts of myself.
Yeah.
Not just what I label as good or what I label as bad, but just loving everything about myself, giving myself grace. I think self-love is a whole lot of grace.
It is. Yeah, I kind of feel like it's okay. So it's allowing. I allow me to be me, and I allow you to be you, and without judgment. And I'm allowed to make the choices that I make. And if they don't work for me, then I change them. And
yeah,
for me, self-love is really listening to my inner sense. Because when I deny that inner sense, when I'm not listening to my intuition, when I'm just kind of doggedly going on about doing things, you know, from my conditioning even, you know, triggered, and that is not, it's really not allowing me to be my true me. It's just, I'm just becoming sort of a response to or a reaction to my past. And I really want to be able to be present, to be able to respond within the moment, however I choose, without judgment. And
it takes time. It takes time and experience, you know, in this world where everything is instant gratification and turn this on and turn that on. It's like boom, 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 bigger Wi-Fi, more, faster. It's really a huge practice to be still and to not allow all of that chaos and all of that distraction to make you feel like that's who you are, or to distract you from, like you said, your inner gut and knowing who you are. And a big distraction too can be your closest family and your friends.
True.
Who put you in a box and where you're really like, no, but this is who I want to become, and this is who I want to create.
And this is what's important to me.
And this is what's important. And it might not have been important for the first 30 years of your life. Yeah. And those people that are closest to you or your certain family members might not see that for you. And so that's also a way of like detoxing, but really just being still and knowing what's important to you and holding on to that. Yeah. And then surrounding yourself with people who affirm that. Yeah. And who can
or respect your differences. Yeah. What are you going to do? Are you going to do something special on Sunday?
You know, I told Arlen, because he asked me, and I said that my favorite thing of all time that I would love to do is go for a bike ride on the beach.
Oh, that's a good, and you live close to the beach, right?
Yeah, we live a few minutes from the beach. But yeah, every time I see you on your bike, I'm just like, ah, yes.
I know. I have a beach cruiser, but I live in an area of Miami that's like Connecticut. It's all full of trees and kind of woods, and it's the first time who would have thought I would have moved to Miami and live in the woods? I know. It's so bizarre for me. It's like, but it's been really beautiful to be around this sort of greenery and oxygen and sort of wilderness, and I love the sea. I mean, I absolutely love it. But my boys are in town, so I'm excited because I'm going to do something with them, but they haven't told me what. So I've got a time I need to be somewhere. I don't have
they're at the age where they can plan.
Yeah, it's so I'm really, and usually we're not in the same state at the same time, you know, for whatever reason. There's school commitments or there's work commitments. So this is the first Mother's Day in a really long time that we've been in the same state. So I'll let you know what we're planning on doing. And I want to let you go because I know you're super busy. We've been on the line for 50 minutes, but I just am so happy to see you, and I'm so grateful that you're sharing with us, sharing your wisdoms. Guys, you can go to Angie Green, at Angie Green is her Instagram handle. What I love about Angie, if you look at her posts, they're always about the root cause of whatever's going on in life. She's offering solutions and understanding to the root cause, and instead of just sort of, you know, band-aids for whatever you're going through. And I love that you go deeper and you have that conscious perspective on how to look after ourselves in healing, in parenting, with nutrition, with biohacks. So I've learned so much from you, and I'm just really grateful that you took time to speak to me today. I know you're super busy. So
anytime. I mean, you know me. I would do this weekly with you. I'm so grateful to be surrounded with women like you. So grateful.
And I love having you as a friend. And give a kiss to Arlen. Say thanks for looking after the kids for me.
I will. Thank you.
And we'll
enjoy your Mother's Day.
Thank you. Now I'm going to upload this, guys, on my IG. I have to read my instructions on how to do this. So
okay, perfect. And you can send it to me, and then I will upload it as well on my IG.
Okay, perfect.
Okay, big kiss.
Love you, girlfriend.
Love you too. Bye.
So wait a second. Share on IGV. What do I do?
So when you
wait a second.
Once you press off,
once it's over, tap end in the top right corner. Is that the cross?
Yeah, but don't press end. But then wait and read what's on the screen.
Okay. So I press the cross, right?
Yes.
Okay. Love you. Bye. So, end now.